Four friends go camping in a cursed forest, and the campfire ghost stories they're pressured into telling turn out to be a lot more real than any of them expected. We open with four friends hiking through a field toward a forest campsite, where an eerie, older man named Darwin greets them, explaining the rest of his tour group canceled.
Fortunately, they all canceled this morning.
And directing them to set up camp that night around the fire. Stargazing sparks a conversation about how starlight can take 100 years to reach Earth, meaning they're essentially looking into the past. Darwin asks if this is their first trip together, warning it's the kind of experience that stays with people forever. He then reveals something unsettling. Back in 1993, hikers discovered 3 skulls nearby, later followed by an excavation that uncovered several unidentified bodies.
Dead bodies were found.
According to him, an ancient evil predates any human settlement here, one that dragged victims underground to feed on their twisted, broken remains for eternity.
Before any man set foot on this soil, there was an evil here.
Darwin introduces a tradition his tours always follow, a wooden totem meant to feed this evil and open a channel to the dead.
It's a totem. It allows us to communicate with the dead.
Whoever throws it into the fire has to tell a story, ideally something that genuinely frightens them. Mark volunteers first, and once the totem burns, he begins his tale about shadows.
This is a story about shadows.
In his story, a man named Daniel is fleeing through an abandoned warehouse from 2 men, Terry and Barry, demanding money he doesn't have. Squeezing through gaps to escape, he eventually gets cornered by Barry, who beats him down while searching for their money. Daniel spots something inhuman lurking in the darkness, and moments later, Barry is killed, missing an eye, leaving Terry to assume Daniel is responsible and arm himself with a knife. Daniel insists a monster did it, something Terry refuses to believe, holding him at knife point until Daniel convinces him to flee instead. The moment Terry steps outside cover, the same creature kills him too, and Daniel, terrified but desperate, attacks it with a crowbar, only to be slashed across the leg and forced to run. He stumbles upon a security guard named Jeff, who claims police are already on the way, a lie meant to get people to leave quickly. Once Daniel insists he call them for real, Jeff tends to his wound and reviews the security footage together. They discover the cameras show no monster at all, only Daniel himself killing both Barry and Terry. Devastated and in denial, Daniel insists that's not what happened, even as the footage contradicts his version of events entirely. Just as Jeff tries calling for real help, Daniel starts panicking about the monster returning, visibly reacting to something Jeff can't see or hear at all, confirming the creature was never real to begin with. Realizing the horrifying truth about what he's actually done, Daniel decides to leave the story exactly there, a bleak, unresolved ending. Back at the campfire, Darwin remarks that real demons don't need horns or a trident, since they already live inside people, buried under guilt and failure.
Demons don't always appear. They're deep inside us all.
Dan volunteers next, tossing in the totem to begin the second story, about a mysterious, hidden woman. A mother named Hannah moves into a new house with her son Charlie, who's curious about the previous owner's abandoned belongings. While exploring, Charlie finds an old model ship, and Hannah later discovers a broken phonograph in the basement. That night, she wakes to find Charlie missing from bed, only to find him sitting near the phonograph with a strange woman standing behind him, who vanishes the instant Hannah turns on the light. Unsettled by how Charlie reached a glass placed far too high for him, she brings him back to bed without answers. The next day, mysterious banging noises lead Hannah to grab a kitchen knife and investigate an empty room. Despite catching glimpses of Charlie outside and a blurry presence beside her that vanishes whenever she looks directly at it. That night, the supposedly broken phonograph inexplicably starts playing music on its own, and a shadowy figure appears near her, disappearing the moment she turns on the light. Charlie later finds an old photo tucked inside the phonograph, resembling a ballerina. He insists is their nanny, despite his mother's confusion, since the real nanny never danced. Frustrated, Hannah throws the phonograph outside, only to spot lights flickering upstairs. Investigating, she finds Charlie standing eerily in the hallway before he transforms into the ghostly woman entirely, terrifying her into collapsing, only to look up and find her son peacefully asleep in bed instead, the woman gone again. The phonograph mysteriously ends up back inside, no matter how many times she disposes of it, until she finally burns it in a dumpster fire for good. Later, Hannah finds the ghostly woman lying beside Charlie in bed, who mistakes her for his own mother. Standing horrified in the doorway, once she turns the light on, the woman vanishes. As always determined to leave the house for good, the family witnesses the woman, now unmistakably the ballerina from the photo, slowly approaching them as they try to escape downstairs. Hannah's attempt to open the front door fails when it slams shut on its own, and she turns to find the woman letting out a terrifying scream, ending the story there. Back at the fire, the group asks what happened to the family, and Dan admits nobody knows since they were never seen again.
What happened to him?
No one knows.
Skeptical Mark questions how anyone could know the story at all if that's true, prompting Darwin to suggest that spirits genuinely do visit and share these tales after death.
The dead do visit us.
Mark then convinces a hesitant woman nearby to tell the third story, tossing in her own totem. This story follows Steve and his wife Kath celebrating their anniversary at a bar. Despite her clear hesitation about whatever he's planned, when Steve pushes forward anyway, they join another couple, and the woman Luna slips a pill into Steve's mouth. Despite Kath's nervous refusal, Luna explains their unconventional lifestyle isn't for everyone, insisting true fulfillment comes from surrendering petty desires, and tells Steve that whoever claims his body, she alone gets his heart thrilled. Steve follows her upstairs, leaving Kath behind entirely. Inside a hotel room, Luna has him inhale something from a small bottle, producing an intense reaction before restraining him and marking his back with a strange symbol. Once he's handcuffed, her appearance shifts entirely, her face now covered in twigs, crowning him with more twigs before branding his chest with a hot iron. Overwhelmed and terrified, Steve manages to escape, only to find hallways full of similarly twig-masked figures chasing him relentlessly through the building. Desperate, he begs a hotel employee for help, only to be led straight to a room where Kath, bearing the same brand on her back, calmly tells him it's nearly midnight. The employee then drugs him with anesthesia, and Steve wakes up restrained, surrounded by masked figures. With Kath, her face fully visible this time, standing at the foot of the bed, his ring finger has been removed, one eye is gone, and his tongue hangs from the wall nearby. Holding a knife, Kath asks if he'll ever betray her again through weakness and desire, and a terrified Steve shakes his head, earning applause from the group around them. Still, given the severity of his betrayal, nothing can save him, and Kath removes his blanket to reveal his mutilated body before tearing out his still beating heart, wishing him a happy anniversary as she cuts it apart. Ending the story on that brutal note, back at the fire, Mark points out that Steve clearly learned nothing since he died, but Darwin clarifies the lesson was never meant for Steve himself, but for the listeners to appreciate what they already have.
Be appreciative of what you have in this life.
Dan wonders aloud whether living a genuinely good life guarantees avoiding such a horrific fate, and Darwin firmly disagrees. The final member of the group begins the last story, tossing her own totem into the flames. This story follows three friends, Matt, James, and Natasha, heading to a movie theater where an oversized cashier named Gareth makes an order mistake that gets his condescending manager involved. Once the situation's resolved, the group heads to their screening room, annoying another moviegoer with their chatter before the film even starts. James steps out to the restroom just as the manager fires Gareth on the spot, and in response, Gareth grabs a mask hanging nearby, along with a pen from the manager's pocket, stabbing him in the eye before shoving his head into the popcorn machine and locking the theater's exits with his stolen keys. James returns in a panic, warning his friends and the annoyed moviegoer about what's happened, only to find the fire exit locked as well. When the complaining man leaves to confront Gareth directly, the trio watches in horror as Gareth chokes him to death with a chain hard enough to decapitate him. Convinced 3 against 1 gives them a fighting chance, they attempt to sneak out and call for help, but the lights suddenly turn red, revealing Gareth has full control of the building's systems. Spotting him nearby, the group scatters, and Natasha trips over the previous victim's body, knocking herself unconscious. Waking alone later, she wanders into another screening room with a mutilated victim seated inside. Forced to hide and crawl away as Gareth searches nearby, James eventually finds her, but in her panic to escape, she doesn't wait long enough for Gareth to fully clear the area, and he grabs her by the neck, killing her with a popcorn scoop. Fleeing into the restroom, James hides from another flush, only to run into a woman named Claire, who initially mistakes his intentions before he shows her footage, proving the danger they're in together. They hide until Claire pushes James to check on the commotion outside, and he attempts reasoning with Gareth directly, only for Matt to ambush the giant with a metal pole, a strike Gareth easily shrugs off. Gareth quickly overpowers both men, crushing Matt's skull outright, but James manages to fight back hard enough to steal his keys, urging Claire to run. First reaching the entrance, James finds a key that partially opens the shutters and chivalrously lets Claire crawl out first, only to watch in horror as something unseen drags her back inside. As he escapes himself, police outside mistake him for the threat and shoot him dead on the spot, a detail only revealed because the woman telling the story finishes by stating it herself. She asks if Darwin will share a story of his own, but he declines entirely.
Well, aren't you going to tell a story?
I wouldn't dare.
Wishing the group good night before walking off. The next morning, the group wakes up to find Darwin has vanished, along with one of their phones,
My phone's gone.
revealing he was nothing more than an opportunistic thief the entire time. Later, the woman who told the final story returns home, and a news broadcast confirms Gareth's theater massacre was genuinely real all along. In the film's closing scene, Darwin is shown welcoming an entirely new group of campers, and someone begins telling a story about that very same woman as a bird suddenly slams into her window, leaving her staring down at its blood.
Trust me. They are listening.